StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you're expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is part 2 of our ongoing series, How Winners Think. Before we get started, I remind you of two things. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation messages guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. Start your day, your week, respectively. Just text me at my number 305-384-6894. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where you work with me directly. That's the place where you solve that problem of getting yourself a coach. You solve that problem of making sure you're being held accountable. You solve that problem of making sure you create a system so that when you find things that work, you can systematize it and do it over and over and over again. So you can do the same things the same way every time. All that happens by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link down below in the description to this episode. With that out the way, let's get into the topic here today, which again is how winners think. If you did not hear the intro episode, which is the part 1 of this ongoing series, just go back and listen to that previous one so you get this whole you get the full context of what it means, how winners think, what we laid out in yesterday's masterclass. Here we're going to pick up right where we left off at point number 4. Number 4, I am not a winner just because I've been in a bunch of easy situations and succeeded. What makes me a winner is that I've been in difficult situations that may present the possibility that I will lose and I win. So you do not become a winner because you've been in a bunch of easy situations that were laid out for you to be successful and then you indeed succeeded. What makes you a winner is that you've been in situations where it looked like you could not succeed, but you succeeded anyway. That's what makes you a winner. Is taking what looks like a loss and turning it into a win. If you haven't done that, you are not a winner. Just as we talked about in the previous point, winners position themselves to be ready to deal with challenging situations before the challenging situation deals with them. They deal with it. Understand, no one looks up to a winner who's had it easy. If you only had it easy, you're not really a winner. You may not necessarily be a loser, but you're also not a winner. Now, so this one is there is some gray area when it comes to winner and loser, at least if we're talking about anything other than sports. In life, if everything has been easy for you and kind of hand picked and laid out on a platter for you to be successful, and you didn't fumble the ball and you have indeed become successful, then I'm not going to knock you for that. But at the same time, if you ask, I'm going to tell you, you haven't really proven yourself because you haven't been in any challenging situations. So you're not really a winner until you get into a challenging situation and you turn it into a success. You can't be a winner only playing home games. Everybody understand what that means? Even if you're not a sports fan, you get the metaphor, right? You can't just play home games and call yourself a winner or call yourself a champion. You got to play some road games. You got to play some games on the road. Meaning you got to go into a hostile territory where the situation is not only not set up for you to win, it's actually set up for you to lose. It's set up for you to fail. No one is working on your behalf or looking out for your interests. Everyone is actually looking out for ways to make sure you come up short and then you find a way to come up big and win anyway. That's what makes you a winner. If you've never done that, you're not a winner. I don't know what you want to call yourself, but do not disrespect the game by calling yourself a winner if you've never been in that situation. That's how it works. No one looks up to a person who had everything easy. How can we look up to them? They haven't done anything. They haven't faced the challenges that we, looking at them, have faced. If I'm sitting in an audience and there's some person on the stage who is telling me how successful they are, and I'm listening to their story and I'm like, this person hasn't faced any challenges, but I'm not really looking up to that person because they haven't faced any challenges. I can't relate to them because I got challenges right now. This guy has no challenges and he's telling me how successful he is. Well, who cares about his success? He hasn't had to face down anything in order to get there. But if someone gets on the stage and starts telling me all the challenges that they dealt with, yet they still became successful, now I'm interested. Okay, what system, what process, what strategies, what mindset did this person use to get from where they were, which I can relate to where they are, which is at a higher level? How they do that? That person, I'm willing to listen. See what they have to say. No one wants to hear the person who's had everything easy and everything's always worked. Is there anybody listening to me who everything in your life has always been easy and everything you tried has always worked? If your answer is yes, I got bad news. I got good news and bad news for you. Good news is you have created a good amount of success, and maybe you will continue to sustain it because you seem to be a very lucky individual. Congratulations. Bad news is very few humans on the planet will ever be able to relate to you, your story, and your approach, because very few humans on the planet have gone through an entire life with no challenges like you did. Therefore, they can't relate to you. What many of you need to understand and embed this in your brain is that what makes people connect with you is not necessarily your successes as much as it is your failures and setbacks. The fact that you've had failures, setbacks, challenges, anxiety, anxiety-inducing circumstances in your life, and you found a way to become successful despite those, that's what makes people buy into you. So yes, it is a success, but it's what did you have to deal with in order to get the success? That matters a lot. So if you ever hear somebody talking about their background and they've dealt with some really challenging stuff in their background, they usually do not fail to mention it and to remind you of the challenges that they faced in order to get to where they are. Why? Because that's what allows you to connect with them. You may not be able to relate to their success because their success may be 50 levels above your level of success right now. However, you can relate to their challenges because the challenges that they talk about, you can relate to that one like immediately because you can feel it. Maybe you're dealing with the exact challenge that they dealt with. You can feel that. You may not be able to resonate so much with the success. Maybe you want the success, but what you resonate with is the challenge. This is the reason why anyone who's going to present themselves as an authority or as a quote unquote successful person has to share what the challenges were that put them in a position to do what they had to do in order to get to the success. Because if I can't relate to any part of your story, then I'm not really going to hear what you have to say. If I'm talking to someone I can't relate to anything, there's nothing in their story that I can relate to, well, I'm not really going to hear them. I'm not going to buy from them. I'm not going to be their customer. I'm not going to join their audience because I can't relate to this person in any way. If I can relate to you in some way, then it's much higher likelihood that I do anything else with you. Easy wins are not respected even by people who have them. Easy wins are not respected even by people who have easy wins. We as humans only look up to and honor those who dealt with challenges and figured out a way to make it work anyway. Isn't this true? Those are the people we look up to. We look up to the people who have dealt with challenges and made it work. I'm not saying that if an easy win is presented to you that you should not take it. But if you want to be a true winner, you have to take some situations that look like losses and turn them into wins. If you have not done that, then you are unqualified to call yourself a winner. Point number 5. Today's topic, once again, is how winners think. Number 5, every problem exists because there is a solution. Remember our topic here, how winners think. This is the 5th way that a winner thinks. Every problem exists because there is a solution. That's it. Problems, by definition, have solutions. If you call it a problem, then that means it has a solution, by definition. Any problem that does not have a solution, you shouldn't call it a problem. You should call it what it is, which is a circumstance. See, a circumstance is just a thing. It just is what it is. Good thing is you can change circumstances, but you can't necessarily solve a circumstance. You can change the circumstance, you can't solve it. So, for example, if I was to go out on the balcony of where I live right now, if I was to do so early in the morning, because my balcony faces to the east, if I was to do so early in the morning, let's say 9 o'clock in the morning, the sun is going to be right in my face and hitting me directly. And being that I live in Miami, Florida, it can be really hot, and being that I'm in a suit many days, it can become physically uncomfortable within just a few short minutes. Now, is that a problem or a circumstance? It's a circumstance. The reason it's a circumstance is because the balcony is not going away, the heat is not going away, and the sun is not going away. So I can change the circumstance, because all circumstance means is the circle around which you stand. Circumstance. So all I have to do is change where I'm standing. I can go inside, close the balcony door, and maybe close the shade, and now the sun is not affecting me nearly as much, even though I've only literally moved 3 feet from where I had been previously. But I changed the circumstance. I changed where I'm standing. I changed what was around me and how it's around me. And now the situation has changed. So that wasn't a problem. It was a circumstance because I didn't stop the heat. I didn't change the balcony. I didn't stop the sun. All I did was move myself. Now, if something is a problem, I can do something about it. So what's an example of something I can do that's a problem? So another example, using myself, I took about 6 to 8 weeks off from running this summer. And I took them off, not even so much as they planned 6 weeks. It was semi-planned. It was because I was having some lower leg issues that were bothering me. I figured if I took some time off, maybe it'd start to feel better. Didn't really feel that much better, but I figured out some ways that I can deal with it and remedy it. and I like running. So I started running again. And as of this recording, I am not close to the game shape that I need to be in to go out and compete in ways that I feel like I can win some races. I like running 10K races, and I'm probably going to get into, I think I have 4 on my calendar between October and December, 4 races that I want to get in and have goals of coming in top 3 in my age group in each one of them. The problem right now, as of today, when I'm recording this, and this is a solvable problem, is that I'm not in the game shape that I want to be in yet. I.e., I'm not able to run at a fast enough pace for as long as I need to without needing to stop and catch my breath or something like that, because I'm just not in shape. And if you don't work out for an extended period of time, you're not supposed to be in shape. So that's why I call this a solvable problem. It's a good problem because I know exactly why I have it. I know exactly where it came from. I know exactly what to do to fix it. See that? That's a problem, but I can solve it. Any problem that does not have a solution is a circumstance. And if it does have a solution, then find it. That's it. The winner's mindset is that if this is a problem, I will find the solution, and thus I will solve the problem. This is a simple, proactive mindset that expects a positive outcome, even though the circumstance at the moment does not provide a clear path to said outcome. The mindset of a winner is the expectation of figuring out any problem that is presented to him or her. That is the winner's mindset. Whatever problem you present me, I will solve it. I may not have the answer right now, but I will get an answer and I will solve the problem and we will move forward. That's the mindset of a winner. Now, again, even though the circumstance may not provide you a clear answer to your situation, if you believe that there is an answer, that means you'll go find it. Anything you go looking for strongly enough, ladies and gentlemen, you find it. Give you an example. My son is 2 years of age. I take him out on a walk usually 2 times per day, sometimes more than that. And my son tends to notice things that my mind tends to basically delete and not even notice because he has a different perspective. Because of his age, there are certain things that he notices that I wouldn't pay any attention to because I simply just ignore them. They're there, but I just ignore them. So, for example, he has, these kids shows that he watches every now and then. We don't really put our child on screens too often, but every once in a while when he does watch it, there are shows that talk about like construction vehicles, like cement trucks and excavators and what's the other ones? Pile drivers, things like that. So when we're outside walking, and in Miami, there's a lot of construction going on in a lot of different places, all kinds of high rises and buildings and businesses being built, literally physically being built. He notices the excavators in places where, and when he says the excavator, and I'm looking like, where's that? And then I see it. Oh, wait, it's right there. I walk past his excavator every day without him and never even paid it any mind, but that is literally an excavator right there. And he sees it. He notices it because his reticular activating system is going through the things that he knows about. And I got like 40 years of material in my brain that he doesn't have. So off of his limited experience, he's noticing certain things. I'm looking out the window right now. There's a big billboard. This is probably 50 feet by 50 feet billboard for DoorDash. And on the billboard, it has a picture of cartons of milk. It looks like Brussels sprouts, maybe heads of lettuce, strawberries, and bananas. And when we are walking, he can see that billboard, and he has pointed out multiple times the bananas and the strawberries. Now, I see the bananas and the strawberries, but I would not take any note of them being on that billboard because my brain would simply delete that because it means nothing to me, but it means a lot to him. The point is, anything you're looking for, you find. All right, he tends to notice these things because, again, he only has so many things to reference. I got a lot more stuff to reference than he does. So the few things he can reference, he notices them as soon as they come around. And your brain can work the exact same way. You just have to decide what you want to focus on. Same thing for me. I'm just not focused on bananas and excavators and strawberries. I'm focused on some other things. And if I see them, I will notice them. What are you focused on? That's the question. A winner is focused on solutions to any problem that they identify. And again, if it doesn't have a solution, it's not a problem. The thing is, many people simply don't want to deal with problems, or they fold when there is a problem, or they try to avoid problems altogether, and they try to call what is a problem, they call it a circumstance. So, for example, I just told you that there's a certain pace that I like to be able to run at for 6 to 7 miles without stopping. I want to be able to run at a certain pace for 6 to 7 miles continuously without needing to stop to catch my breath or do anything. That's my standard. Now, there are some people out there, they took 6 weeks off from running and they came back. They would not be able to hit that number, which I wasn't able to hit it the last time that I ran a couple of days ago, but I know I'm going to fix it. There are other people who look at that and say, well, hey, I'm this age, I got this many miles in my body. You know what? I don't need to do that. This is just a circumstance. It's just what it is. I can't change it anymore. It's just what it is. I refuse to accept that as a circumstance, and I'm instead choosing to identify it as a problem, which means I can solve it. And I want you to please notice what I just said. Rewind this 30 seconds and catch what I just said. Winners take what most people consider to be circumstances and redefine them as problems. People who don't win, if you want to call them losers or whatever words you want to give it, I'll allow you this in this context because there is some gray area here. They take what winners would call a problem and they call them circumstances, therefore alleviating themselves of the responsibility of finding a solution. People who don't win usually take what could be a solvable problem and they call it a circumstance, i.e., there's nothing I can do about it, and they just let it be. This is what happens for a lot of people. Not even to. It doesn't happen to you. It happens for you because you decided to do it. Most people just don't want to deal with problems, or they rather just try to avoid them or act like a problem isn't right there in front of their faces. This is the reason why winners are winners, because they go looking for problems and they solve them. Most people don't go looking for problems. Most people notice something that looks like it might be a problem and they go the other way. They turn around and go the other way. Winners look at something that looks like a problem and they go even further. They lean into the situation, as they said. They go to problems and figure out ways to handle them one way or another. And they enter the situation with the mindset that I will solve this. I mentioned Michael Jordan in yesterday's masterclass. Many people famously know Michael Jordan's story, that when he was with the Chicago Bulls early in his career back in the 1980s, he had made himself pretty recognizable as one of the best players in the NBA, yet his team had not won a championship. They kept losing in the playoffs. And people were saying, well, Michael's a great individual player, but he can't win with the team because he's too good individually. He's kind of crowding out his teammates. He's trying to do it all by himself. He can't do it. And Michael Jordan could have just accepted that as a circumstance. Well, I'm just so good and my teammates are just not as good as me, and therefore I'll be individually brilliant. I'll get all the accolades and make the money and get the endorsements, but I'm not going to win a championship. Instead of defining it as a circumstance, I'm just so good and my teammates can't match me that we'll never win, he instead defined it as a problem. I am really good. My teammates are not matching me. Let me fix the problem. Notice my verbiage. Instead of saying this is the circumstance, my teammates can't match me, he said, let me fix the problem of my teammates not matching me. He didn't say this. I'm saying this was embodied in his actions. I'm basically prescribing what I think he was thinking. Let me fix the problem and get my teammates to step their game up. Not necessarily he was going to make them become him, which is impossible, but I'm going to make them be the best version that they can be, which is better than what they're doing right now. And Michael Jordan was able to do that. And then the problem got solved and the Bulls started winning championships. And once they started winning, they never lost again. And they won 6 times in a row. As long as Jordan was playing, they won. All right. That is redefining a circumstance and turning it into a problem. And again, some of you, just the way that you've been socialized and taught, why would you turn something into a problem? Isn't that a bad thing? No, it's a good thing. All right, this is the flip that I want you to get. This is the paradigm shift I'm hoping that you understand. I'm pointing it out to you here, so if you're slow of processing, you still get it. Winners want to call things problems because by definition, problems have solutions. And winners are solutions-oriented individuals. They find problems so that they can find solutions. See, with no problem, there's no solution. Everybody catching what I'm saying here? Point number 6. Today's topic, once again, is how winners think. Number 6, I want to win today and also in the future. So I plan and prepare accordingly. I want to win today. I also want to win tomorrow and the next week and next year. So I plan and prepare accordingly. The winner's mindset is not just winning the situation that's in front of you today and at this moment. It means winning over and over again because you are what you repeatedly do. Aristotle said that. You are what you repeatedly do. So if you repeatedly win, you're a winner. If you repeatedly lose, you're a loser. If you repeatedly have random outcomes, then you are I guess somebody could call it a welcome randomized. I don't know, what would you call that? Or you could just say you're inconsistent. That's what any of you ever described someone or maybe even described yourself as inconsistent. Well, that's what inconsistent means. Consistent means same thing, same way every time, whether losing or winning. But if you're sometimes losing, sometimes winning, sometimes up, sometimes down, sometimes you got energy, sometimes you're lethargic, well, what is that? That is inconsistent. You are what you repeatedly do. So if you're repeatedly unpredictable, you are inconsistent. If you're repeatedly great, you're a winner. You're repeatedly down, you're losing. Right? That's what it is. So the winner's mindset is not just about right now. It means doing the same things over and over again, You are not just what you do one time. Now, while I will admit that there are times in life when you can do something one time, and if it's notable enough and visible enough, people may come to identify you forever with that one thing that you did that one time. Just think of an artist, a musical artist who makes one hit record, and that's the only song you remember them for. And if you hear their name, that's the first thing you're gonna think is that song. So think Vanilla Ice with Ice Ice Baby, or MC Hammer with You Can't Touch This. All of you know those artists, all you know those songs, and they may come to be recognized for just that one thing. But anyone who knows them on any other level than just the music probably knows them for whatever they consistently do, which ain't that song, which is these songs are 30, 40 years old. All right, so a winner sets themselves up not only for the short-term success, but they also keep their eye on long-term success. I'm going to win now and I'll win tomorrow. Understand, folks, winning is not just an activity. Winning is a mindset. That's why this series is called How Winners Think. I didn't say what winners do. I say how winners think. What is the mindset of the winner? And anything that is a consistent mindset becomes part of your lifestyle. If it's a mindset, it becomes a lifestyle, because your life is determined by the way that you think, because your thoughts lead to your words to your actions to your outcomes. So the way a person lives is a reflection of the way that they think. So if you watch another person for long enough and observe the way that they live, I mean, like the way they go to work, I don't mean like the route they take, I mean the way they do their work, the way they take care of their body, the way they deal with their relationships, the way they deal with their friends, the way they communicate, the way they do everything. The more you can observe about another person, the better clues you get into how they think. You cannot read another person's mind, and you should be very careful assigning thought processes to other people. But if you watch someone's actions for long enough, you can draw some very strong inferences about the way that they think, because it is impossible to behave in a way that is incongruent with the way that you think over a consistent period of time. It is impossible. In other words, any behavior that you notice from another person consistently over an extended period of time, there is something in their mind that is completely congruent with that behavior. So again, while you cannot assign or read the mind of another person, you can draw some very strong inferences about what's going on in someone's mind by looking at their actions. Consistent actions, again, not just one-time things, but they're consistent actions, which means you have to observe someone for long enough to draw some conclusions. Many people do this a little bit too quickly. Jump into conclusions is what we call that. So that's not what I'm telling you to do. So when something is a lifestyle, it's not just a one-time thing. A lifestyle is not a one-time thing. So if your lifestyle is waking up early to go to the gym, you don't have to announce every day that you woke up early to go to the gym, because waking up early to go to the gym is just part of how you live. You don't have to say anything. You have to announce it because you do it all the time. It's not even news. You know, there's some people who do it because maybe they do it to motivate their audiences. So there's a guy, I believe, last time I saw him doing it, and he probably still does it. This guy named Jocko Willink. He wrote a book called Discipline is Freedom. He wrote another one called, I forget the name of the other book. He's written a couple books, but he's a former Navy SEAL guy. He has some good stuff. I'm not a big fan of the rah-rah military head through concrete guys. I'm not saying that's exactly what he is. I'm being kind of hyperbolic when I say that, but I'm not a big fan of their approach, but there are a lot of people who are big fans of them. So that's why I'm using Jocko's name here. But I would see years ago, the last time I saw him do it, and again, I'm saying he probably still does it. He would wake up early in the morning, and it'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning. And he would take a picture or a screenshot of his phone, what time it was, and then he would post it with maybe some saying or hashtag, whatever it was, about how he was getting up early. So that part I get, if that's what you're doing. At the same time, I'm helping you understand that if you're doing something on a consistent basis, you don't have to announce it. I mean, if you got a strategic reason why you're announcing it, but you don't have to announce it. Puff Daddy, for example, he's in the news for more nefarious reasons these days. But one of the things that I saw him say years ago was, it was a clip that he had posted like on social media to motivate his audience. He was standing hanging with DJ Khaled, and one of the things that he said was, he was, and it's taken out of context, but he's saying people have to catch you doing these things. So these fly things that you're doing, and everyone knows Puff Daddy's reputation of showing himself off, his clothes, his cars, his planes, his lifestyle, all of that stuff. He said, we don't want to be setting up a shot and posing for pictures to show people what we're doing. We should be doing this stuff every day, to the point that if someone just took a random picture, they're going to catch us doing some fly shit no matter what, because we're always doing fly shit. So we don't have to plan it or pose for it or set up a picture to look like we're doing fly shit, because we're doing fly shit 24/7. So it doesn't matter when you take a picture, it's always going to look like some fly shit. And the point of that, again, regardless of how you feel about Puff Daddy himself, at this point, he hasn't gone to trial yet as of this recording. That concept is exactly what I'm talking about. that if you're living like that all the time, then you ain't got to announce it, because it doesn't matter. Anytime you see me, it's going to look like that, because that's what I'm doing all the time. Any day you come to the gym, I'm going to be there at the gym. All right, doesn't matter. I'm always up early going to the gym. So and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, this month, next month, 2 years from now, it doesn't matter. When you show up to the gym, I'll be there, because I'm always there. All right, that's a lifestyle. That's not a thing that you do. That's a lifestyle. It's a way of living. And there's a difference. All that said, let's recap today's class. It was part 2 of our ongoing series, How Winners Think. Number 4, I am not a winner because I've been in a bunch of easy situations and succeeded. What makes me a winner, I've been in difficult situations and won. All right, that's what makes you a winner. You got to get in a challenging situation, whether you did it on purpose or it got thrown at you and you figured out a way to win. But if you have not been in any and turned what looks like a loss into a win, you are not a winner. Number 5, every problem exists because there is a solution. And the good thing about winners is that they look for what most people call circumstances. They redefine them as problems, and they identify and utilize solutions. Every problem by definition has a solution. So as soon as you call something a problem, that means it can be solved. Number 6, I want to win today and also in the future. So I plan and prepare accordingly. All right, the winner's mindset is not just about winning today, it's about winning all the time and making winning a lifestyle, something that you're always doing, which means no matter when someone checks in on your life, you will always be winning. It doesn't matter when it is. There are no down days to winning. All right, every day is a win. You're always looking for ways to win. Doesn't mean every day is some big party and celebration, but when something's a lifestyle, it's your normal mode of operation. It's not something you have to remember to do or pose for a picture so somebody can catch you doing it. You're always doing it. All that said, folks, tomorrow we'll get into the next part of the series. Make sure you go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you are serious about winning, you're serious about turning what appear to be circumstances into problems, so you can actually find and employ solutions and systems to make sure that those solutions get utilized all the time, and make sure you're being held accountable to actually implement and get these things done with my direct help. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all